They erased me from every photo, every post, every plan then called when their house caught fire. Not real flames, reputational ones, the kind that come with headlines and hashtags. Sometimes the ones who silence you will scream the loudest when you stop showing up to save them. Before we dive in, where are you listening from right now? What's your story? Drop it in the comments. My name's Adrienne Cole. I'm 29. This happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. I just moved back into my parents' house after getting laid off from a test prep company. Rent was impossible on unemployment. I figured it'd be a few weeks, a month, maybe. Just enough time to regroup, send out resumes, and get some savings under me. Instead, I walked straight into a narrative already written, one where I was cast as the distraction, the energy vampire, the why can't you be more like your sister shadow. Cassandra, my younger sister, lives online. Instagram, YouTube, short-form videos about grindset and self-worth. She's got the ring lights, the minimalist beige furniture, the pre-recorded morning routines with glowing smoothie bowls and captions like, "Manifest it, babe." My parents, Verena and Gareth, eat it up. They call it her business, like she's running a Fortune 500 company from her phone. They brag about her brand partnerships to friends from church. When I moved back in, they made it clear I was there as a courtesy. 1-bedroom guest room. Don't overstay. Don't interrupt. I kept quiet. I cleaned up after myself. I paid for my own groceries. I even helped Cassandra write her website copy for her new Success Academy, though I noticed my name didn't show up anywhere. And then came the night everything cracked. It was just after 8. The living room was dim, lit by the soft glow of Cassandra's ring light. She was perched perfectly on the cream sectional, eyes locked on the camera, thanking her 50,000th follower for their unwavering support. My parents sat nearby like a studio audience, smiling, nodding. I stood in the kitchen doorway holding a chipped mug of tea I'd reheated twice. No one acknowledged me, not even a glance. I wasn't surprised. I'd gotten used to being background noise in my own family. Then the screen flickered. Her video glitched for a second. Cassandra's pitch-perfect smile dropped. "Oh my God, not now," she snapped. Her eyes landed on me like I'd sneezed in a museum. "Why does this always happen when you're around?" I froze. "What, you stress me out just by breathing? Adrienne." Her voice sliced through the air like glass under pressure. "You throw off my vibe." I waited for anyone to say, "That's ridiculous," or "That's too far." But no one did. Verena stood up and brushed imaginary lint off her lap. "She's not wrong," my mother said calmly. "Every time something good happens, you find a way to ruin it. You've ruined her life. Honestly, you've ruined ours too." Gareth, my father, didn't look at me. He just pinched the bridge of his nose like he was waiting for the scene to end. That moment, it didn't burn like betrayal. It felt cold, surgical, like being cut out of a photo with scissors someone sharpened years ago. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I walked to the guest room, packed a few things into my old backpack from college bare essentials. No keepsakes, no framed photos, no letters, no gifts I'd written, sent, and watched disappear, unopened. The house was silent except for Cassandra's keyboard tapping as she shut down her stream. 15 minutes later, I left. No one asked where I was going. No one followed. Not even Sprout. The golden retriever they got after I moved out the first time. The air outside was damp and quiet. The kind of quiet that follows a different kind of fight, not the loud kind, but the kind that splinters things permanently. I walked 2 blocks to the 24-hour gas station, bought a granola bar and a bottle of water I didn't want, just to feel like I was doing something. The last bus is in 8 minutes, the clerk said. He didn't make eye contact. Neither did I. It was late, and I was standing at a crossroads with $28 in my pocket and the kind of silence that sticks to your skin. When the bus pulled up late, groaning, nearly empty, I got on without looking back. I took it downtown, let the street lights smear across the window like streaks of melted gold, and got off at the end of the line. A beige motel sat half-lit at the corner, flickering neon, $42 a night. I had exactly that. The man behind the counter handed me a room key without asking questions. The number was scribbled in Sharpie. I handed over the last of my cash and climbed the narrow stairs to room 206. It smelled like old cigarettes and something lemony trying to hide it. The bed creaked. The walls buzzed faintly with a vending machine hum. I sat on the edge of the mattress, still in my jeans, still holding the bag that held my whole life. No texts, no calls, no where are you, not even come back. My phone buzzed once. I reached for it, unsure if I even wanted to hope. It wasn't them. It was a 2-year-old delivery notification from when I sent my mom a Mother's Day gift, 2 silk handkerchiefs with her initials, wrapped in soft tissue. She never opened it. They never opened me. That was the night I stopped waiting for the apology. That was the night I stopped expecting anyone to notice I was gone. 2 weeks later, they noticed. 14 missed calls. No, I'm sorry. Just, we need you. Not because they remembered me. Because now, something was burning. I didn't go back. Not when the missed calls started. Not when Cassandra's name began trending for all the wrong reasons. Not even when Verina's voice cracked in the 3rd voicemail and she said, "We didn't know how bad it would get." Because I did know. I'd lived in that silence for years, quiet, edited out, unacknowledged while they built Cassandra's spotlight with bricks they borrowed from me. After that first night in the motel, I stayed up watching the ceiling. The water stain above me looked like a broken bird or a melting star, depending how tired I was. When the sun crept in through the plastic blinds, I counted what I had left, $270 and some change. No job, no home. But something settled in my chest, calm, almost surgical. They never opened the gift I sent. I thought. They never opened me. I put on my sneakers and started walking toward downtown. My feet were already aching by the time I reached the gas station. A block past that, I found a tiny cafe wedged between a dry cleaner and a tire shop. It had a chalkboard out front, free Wi-Fi, 1 teal and 7.5 coffee, refill all day. That was enough. Inside, it smelled like burnt toast and citrus floor cleaner. I ordered the smallest size and took a corner seat near the outlet. I plugged in my phone, pulled out an old notebook I hadn't touched in months, and started writing. Plans, budgets, names of freelance sites I'd once bookmarked but never dared to try. By noon, I'd signed up for 3 tutoring platforms, SAT prep, essay coaching, GED support. I updated my bio, patient, reliable background in curriculum design. I believe in showing up even when no one else does. Something about typing that last sentence made me blink harder than I wanted to. I clicked apply 16 times. That night, I walked to the public library. They let me borrow a Chromebook for 2 hours. By the end of the week, I had 3 clients, 2 high schoolers and 1 adult learner named Elijah, studying for his GED. The pay wasn't much, but they listened. They asked questions. They said thank you. I kept track of every payment, every session, scribbled on the back of my motel receipt. I rationed my coffee, stretched each bag of trail mix like it was a luxury item. And every time a student said, "You made that make sense," something in me rose, something steady. Still, I couldn't shake the echo of that unopened gift, not the handkerchiefs, the other one. It hit me late one night, mid-application. I remembered a moment at Grandma Inez's funeral, standing near the buffet table. Someone I'd barely known whispered, "Her second letter was beautiful. I hope it gave you peace." Second letter, I only got 1. 3 days later, I'd asked my mother, still trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Oh, it was nothing. She'd shrugged. Just sweet old lady things. That letter never reached me. Like so many things in that house, it vanished. Quietly, without consequence. Mila showed up on a Thursday afternoon. I hadn't seen her in almost a year. We'd grown up together, same school, same dance classes, same hand-me-down sleepovers. But when Cassandra's following took off, Mila was swept into her orbit. She helped with content, ran errands, did editing. I didn't blame her. It paid. Still, I didn't expect her at the motel. She knocked once. Soft. I opened the door, and there she was, hair tied back, dark circles under her eyes, holding something wrapped in a dish towel. "Adrienne," she said. "I didn't believe them when they said you were in trouble. But then I saw this." She stepped in like she wasn't sure if she should. The towel unwrapped slowly. Inside was an envelope. Small. Cream-colored. My name on the front, my handwriting, birthday card from my mom. I'd written it almost a year ago. Saved for weeks to put a cafe gift card inside. Wrote a note about second chances, about maybe talking again, about trying. Mila set it down like it might break. It was in Verina's desk drawer, under expired coupons. I didn't move. "It wasn't opened," she whispered. "Not even wrinkled." I slid my nail under the flap and peeled it back. The letter inside was still folded neat, exactly as I'd mailed it. I read the note aloud, but my voice didn't crack. It was too tired for that. "Mom, if there's still space in your heart for me, I'd like to sit there again. Not everything. Just a callback. I miss our Tuesday talks. I miss you." She never opened it. Not even to throw it away, just filed it with junk and forgot it existed. I looked at Mila. She looked down. "That's not all I found," she said. She pulled out a few printed pages from her tote bag and slid them across the table. Cassandra's new business website, Success Academy, a place for empowerment-based learning. I scanned the first page, then the next. My jaw clenched. She'd copied it. All of it. The diagnostic rubrics I spent months developing, the layout, the intro text, even the color palette I picked years ago when I was still dreaming of launching my own thing. "She said you gave it to her," Mila added quietly, but I knew that was a lie. Even the sidebars. Even my sample quizzes republished under Cassandra's name. I sat there in silence, rage curling like smoke under my ribs. Not hot, cold. Later that night, I opened my old cloud storage just to see what was still backed up. That's when I found it. A file named Inez Will Scan. PDF I clicked. It loaded slowly on the motel Wi-Fi. And then, there it was. All intellectual property, educational materials, and tutoring frameworks co-developed with Adrienne Cole shall remain under her name. She is the sole heir to these works. Signed, stamped, 5 years ago. She'd protected me, legally, quietly, and my mother had buried it, just like the letter. I stared at the screen as the motel lights flickered behind me. Then I did the only thing I could do. I printed it, taped it to the wall, right next to the card that was never opened, side by side, one from the woman who saw me, one from the family that never tried. And suddenly, this wasn't about closure anymore. It was about record keeping. I didn't march into court. I didn't blast it on social media. I took the documents, Grandma Inez's will, the side-by-side curriculum comparisons, timestamps, and screenshots and brought them to a woman named Margot. She was a lawyer in her 50s with gray streaks through her curls and reading glasses that she never actually wore on her face. She slid them on top of her head and read in silence. When she finished, she looked up at me and said, "You don't need to sue. Not yet. You just need to document this properly. Publicly." So we did. She filed the ownership claim with the proper educational and business authorities. We registered the materials under my name. She drafted a public notice that made it clear all intellectual property, frameworks, and original designs belonged to Adrienne Cole, heir of Inez Amos Langford. I left her office with the paperwork in hand and sunlight warming my back, and for the first time in a long time, I felt something other than resentment. I felt control. It didn't last. That night, someone pounded on my apartment door. Not a stranger, not a friend. It was them. Verena, Gareth, Cassandra. I didn't invite them in. We stood in the hallway, just enough light for truth to be visible. Verena spoke first, her voice tight. "We made mistakes," she said. "But family is family." I looked at her. Family meant not burning my letters. Family meant opening my envelope. Family meant saying my name on your posts about gratitude. She looked down. Cassandra said nothing at first. Her makeup was smudged. Her curated glow was cracking. "I'm not here to fight," I said. "But I'm not here to fix this for you either." Then I closed the door. No drama. No slam. Just the soft click of a lock turning into a boundary. The next morning, my inbox had a red flag. Copyright claim pending investigation. Content flagged for violation. I stared at the subject line. My heart dropped, but my hand stayed steady. Another notification popped up, then another. Cassandra had filed against my website, against my work. It was an ambush, not in person, not emotional. Legal? I called Margot. "It's her agency," she said bluntly. "They filed this to freeze you out while they clean up their mess." I took a breath. Then I opened a new folder on my desktop. I called it Receipts. I uploaded screenshots, timestamps, drafts from years ago, early rubrics, Canva templates, handwritten lesson plans scanned in, every bit of proof I ever had. Then I turned on my webcam. No filter, no makeup, no dramatic background music, just me. I placed my grandmother's will in front of the camera, read the key clause out loud. Then I screen shared the evidence, my original files, the plagiarized versions on Cassandra's site, the emails with my name deleted, the timelines that didn't lie. When I finished, I looked straight into the lens and said, "They say silence is strength, but sometimes truth needs a voice. This is mine." I uploaded it. No hashtags, no call to action, just truth. Then I turned my phone face down and made tea. Within hours, the video took off. Parents I'd tutored started sharing it. This woman helped my daughter pass the GED. She got my kid into college. She believed in my son when no one else did. A teacher from Oregon reposted my original curriculum slides. A blogger on TikTok stitched my video with praise for calm, quiet courage. Even Reddit, the same thread Cassandra had tried to control, flipped. Mods flagged her story as misleading. A fired intern leaked messages, old designs, Canva logs, everything pointing back to me. Cassandra's version of events began to fold in on itself. Then came the voicemail. Verena. Her voice was low, not performative. Just tired. "We're sorry." "Adrienne," she said, "not for everything, not yet, but for this, for letting it happen. You didn't deserve that." She didn't ask me to call back, and I didn't. That part of me, the one that used to ache for her voice, didn't reach for it anymore. It just let the words fall like leaves that had already died. 2 days later, there was a knock on my door. Not my parents this time. A courier. "Signature required," he said, handing me a legal envelope inside a proposed settlement agreement from Cassandra's lawyer. 6 figures in exchange for silence. Full rights to my name and content restored if I deleted the video, withdrew my claims, and signed an NDA never to speak of it again. They wanted to buy the story they tried to bury. I read it twice. Once, as the girl who used to wait by the mailbox for her mom to reply, then again as the woman who'd built something out of silence. I stood up, walked to my shredder, slid the papers in, listened as the blades turned their hush money into dust. That evening, I posted a single image to my professional page, white background, my name, my credentials, and one line. You don't owe anyone silence just because they share your last name. By nightfall, it was everywhere. Former teachers, estranged daughters, forgotten sisters. They didn't share it for pity. They shared it because it named something they'd never dared to say. In the comments, one woman wrote, "I thought I was the only one. Thank you for saying what I couldn't." I sat back in my chair, laptop warm on my knees, peppermint tea in hand. For the first time in years, I wasn't angry. I wasn't scared. I wasn't trying to be heard. I was heard. And Cassandra, well, her story was still unraveling. But I didn't need to watch it fall apart, because for once, I wasn't the one holding it together. After the video, after the inbox flooded, after Cassandra's platform finally buckled under the weight of its own lies, there was silence. Not the sharp, punishing kind I used to sit in as a child at the dinner table, where my voice could disappear behind clinking forks and fake smiles. This was different. This silence felt earned, a quiet earned from speaking, once clearly and never needing to defend it again. The first thing I did was make it official. Margot walked me through every step: copyright registration, course material licensing, legal notices for platforms still hosting plagiarized content. I signed every document with steady hands. There was no trembling, no second guessing. I was done asking for acknowledgement. I was claiming what had always been mine. That week, I took down the motel receipt from my wall, the one with the scribbled tutoring income in faded ink. In its place, I pinned the certificate of registration, my name, embossed and real, 2 inches to the left. Grandma Inez's clause still hung: "All educational materials co-developed with Adrienne Cole shall remain under her name." She wrote that for a reason. I believed that now. I didn't post another video. I didn't do interviews. I didn't need to ride the wave of what Cassandra tried to destroy. Instead, I got to work. I rebuilt the tutoring platform I'd once abandoned out of fear, gave it a new name: Visible Learning. Not flashy, not branded to death, just clean, accessible, and mine. I moved into a small apartment above a bookstore on the east side of town. The walls were thin and the plumbing was moody, but it had a window that caught morning light and a second-hand desk where I could spread out my lesson plans. No neon sign outside, no curated aesthetic, just a chair, a screen, and the kids who kept showing up for tutoring. One afternoon, after a back-to-back session marathon, I looked out that window and realized something strange. I hadn't checked my phone in hours. No part of me was waiting for a message from home, because home wasn't a place I left. It was a place I built. Cassandra never issued a public apology, not when her Success Academy site was permanently suspended, not when someone leaked Canva templates dated a year before her launch with my metadata still attached, not when my TikTok clip passed 1 million views, reposted by teachers, college advisors, even a few quiet influencers who whispered, "This happened to me too." Verena never called on my birthday. Gareth never emailed, no cards, no late-night guilt texts, no cousin reaching out with just checking in. They weren't monsters, just people who chose convenience over confrontation. People who found it easier to clip me out of the picture than question the frame. And that's the part I finally accepted. They didn't forget me. They just decided life was simpler without me in it. I took that energy and turned it into something better. A month after the chaos died down, I launched a small scholarship fund, just a few $100s at first, enough to help one student cover test prep or books. I named it after Grandma Inez, the Inez Langford Quiet Light Fund. No ceremony, no press release, just a soft web page and an inbox open to applications. Within 2 weeks, the first thank you letter arrived, handwritten, from a girl in Kansas named Alina, who'd been trying to prep for her SAT while working night shifts at a diner. Her school didn't offer tutoring. Her parents didn't speak English. You made me feel like maybe someone believes in me. She wrote, I sat with that letter for a long time. Not because it hurt, because it didn't. Because it landed somewhere soft in me, a place that had finally stopped bracing for impact. That letter meant more than anything Cassandra ever posted. Last week, I printed a second copy of Grandma's old note, the one I'd carried from the motel room to this apartment, the one with the words that held me up when everything else fell away. You will build what no one sees today. I slipped it into an envelope, no return address, no message. Just those words. Then I mailed it to a girl I'd tutored earlier in the year. Her name was Jaya, 14. Whip smart. Used to whisper that her parents called her too much, too emotional, too dramatic, too intense. She told me once, halfway through a lesson, sometimes I think I'll end up alone because of how I talk. Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. But if she does, if she ever finds herself in a motel room with $50 and a sealed letter in her backpack, I want her to know it won't end there. I want her to know that silence doesn't mean absence and that you can build something in the quiet. You just have to keep your own voice loud enough inside you to hear it. I haven't heard from Cassandra since the settlement offer. I shredded it, then blocked her number. I heard through someone that Verena quietly sold the family house. Some say it was to cover legal costs. Others said she just couldn't bear walking past the hallway wall where the new photo without me used to hang. I didn't dig deeper. Let the past whisper in other people's mouths. I'm not interested in its voice anymore. Now. I spend most mornings making coffee in a chipped mug I found at a thrift store, watching the buses rumble down the road outside my window. I log into sessions. I answer student messages. I send PDFs and encouragement and notes like, you've got this. Don't let them shrink you. Sometimes, that's all someone needs to hear. This isn't a story about revenge. It's about reclamation. Oh, I didn't fight to punish them. I fought to stop disappearing in rooms I helped build. And freedom, real freedom, it's quieter than I imagined. But it's not empty. It sounds like keys typing. Like coffee brewing, like a letter sliding into an envelope with no return address meant only for someone still waiting to hear their name said like it matters. It sounds, finally, like peace.